the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 218 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, November 8th, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, it's over. The season is done.
Yeah. I can't believe it.
I know. I'm sitting there watching Sunday's race, and I'm like, man, just a little bit from now, we're going to know who the champion is, and the season's going to be over. It really felt like a long season, but I didn't want it to end, I guess. I know you and I differ on that, because you probably are thrilled that it's over.
Oh, yeah, I know. I can't wait to get to the finish line. No, but you know, Eric, I can't remember if you and I might have been talking about this, but I was definitely talking about it with somebody. But I can't believe we got through 2020 like that, and now we're already a season past 2020. Yeah. And we've banked 2 full seasons since then. It's just crazy that how fast time flies, and not only that, but we said goodbye to the Gen 6 and 5 lug nuts, and we'll talk about all that. But we got ourselves a champion, man.
We do. A
newbie.
Yeah. 3 newbies, actually, James. 3 new champions throughout the weekend. NASCAR Championship weekend at Phoenix. We'll start where we always do with the Cup Series. Kyle Larson, 10th win of the season, first Cup Series championship. One of the few that's been able to, in this format, just continue the domination and wind up with the finish that should happen, which so often doesn't.
Yes.
And he started it out, James, by making a pit stop 6 laps into the race that I thought, oh my God, they're going to throw this thing away right at the beginning of this thing.
Yeah.
And somehow lucked out of it, I guess. I don't know if it was luck. I mean, they worked their way out of it, but man, I don't know about that decision.
Well, they had fortune come and go all day, and it just seemed like whatever the roulette wheel was going to land on, somebody was going to be fortunate. And I thought Martin Truex Jr. late. That was the lucky decision of them all. But it seemed like they were kind of coming and going, and like you mentioned, Larson had that early pit stop, and I thought, oh boy, here we go. Another. The guy who comes in as probably the favorite, the best driver all season, that's gonna let it go. But man, his team came through, and what a day! What an awesome. It wasn't the greatest race ever, Eric, but the battle between the top 4 was just, we had the right guys in there. It was great.
Yeah, I don't want to leave that decision too quickly, because to me,
go ahead.
6 laps into the race.
Yeah.
I mean, I know tires were a deal at Phoenix, and I'm assuming they had qualifying on those tires too. So you had more than 6 laps, but still, man, 6 laps into the race, you pit and change tires when nobody else pits. And I know he was hoping to drag some people in, I would assume, but man, I just question that strategy. It
used up a set right off the bat.
Well, and not only that, but you put yourself in that hornet's nest at Phoenix where you don't know when they go 7, 8 to 10 wide through the dog leg, whether they're going to come out on the other end,
Yeah, I mean, we've seen close calls there before. I think all weekend long we had a couple of guys have close calls in all the championship races.
Right.
But I think a great example of that though, Eric, is what happened to Denny Hamlin just a week ago at Martinsville. He got caught up in a couple of different things.
Yep.
To kind of make his day a little bit exciting, which seems like a year ago, I guess, at this point. But but yeah, you question that decision, and then you come full circle at the end of the day with the team making the big move, the championship winning move. So it's just typical. I don't want to say a typical championship earned, but that's how this championship race goes sometimes. You have a Tony Stewart who has a piece of debris shoot through his grill in the championship race. He has to go to the back and pass 170 cars or something. We've had Jimmy Johnson in 2016 with never had a shot all day, was basically last of the championship 4 all day, and fortune turns his way. And the same thing happened here for Larson. So it's just kind of the ebbs and flows of the championship race. And that's the beauty of the system we've got. That's why I really enjoy this kind of winner go home final race.
I love the winner go home final race. I don't want to see any changes to this format. I think this format's perfect.
Yeah, let it go at this point. Yep. We're in it now.
I found it interesting, James, that the winning move for Larson came down to something that we haven't done throughout most of the season, and that's qualifying. Getting that pit stop. Yes, the pit crew had to execute as well, but having that first pit stall was what got him out first and allowed him to get the set the tone at the start of the race and ultimately get the championship. So kind of neat to see that.
Well, and it's something that we mentioned but we don't talk about enough, and this is a team sport 100%.
Yep.
Larson laid down that fast lap, but I think I heard Nate Ryan talk about this, that that the 5 team actually had the 48 do some qualifying runs in practice to get a little bit of data for that qualifying lap that the 5 used. So pretty cool that the whole team kind of, from the start to finish, I guess, we don't have practice anymore, but they, the 5 team maximized practice, maximized their qualifying effort. And then, similar to last year at Martinsville, a championship move was made on pit road. And we've had 2 major moments on pit roads the last 2 years in the penultimate race and the championship race, kind of help define, these seasons. This is going to be the memorable moment for Kyle Larson for forever, was that pit stop and beating out the 11.
Yeah. Yep. And, I think Kyle did a good job of recognizing in the aftermath, acknowledging the fact that a year and a half ago, he wasn't sure if he's ever going to run in the Cup Series again. Gets that opportunity with Hendrick, which I'll argue that was already predestined. The Hendrick move was happening. We learned this weekend that he spent last year's championship race in the Hendrick war room watching it.
Because it was just announced he was coming. Yep.
So I mean, I think he was probably going to end up there anyway, but obviously what happened with the sponsorship deals and everything, if Rick's not writing that check, Larson's probably not racing in this series. So, I mean, I don't want to call attention to what Larson did because he deserved the punishment for what he did. And I don't want to be like, it's not like overcoming an injury or something like that. Larson did something stupid to get him where he was, but talk about a comeback from a guy who didn't have a ride, goes out and just wins freaking everything, and then continues it on throughout the season to the final and gets the championship to boot as well. So
it's the I think with this format sometimes we have the guy who wins the championship who may not be, we hadn't thought about him a whole heck of a lot that season. Joe Logano comes to mind. Heck, even Chase Elliott last year came to mind. I didn't think going into that race he was that guy. But this year it was all Larson. You can get to the playoffs. He ties the playoff win record at 5, and it just kept getting stronger. The Hendrick team kept getting stronger. Denny Hamlin said that post race. Hendrick kept building momentum and getting stronger through the playoffs, and this was the guy. This was the team. They were the deserving champions from basically when he won Las Vegas and tracked Hamlin down for the regular season title and then carried it on. I mean, it's been his year. You and I have said it plenty of times. If anybody else would have won this championship, we probably would have felt disappointed. Just because of how dominant he was all season long. It's really a special story from where he's come from, and he's changed his history. He could have, that all could have gone away, like you said, Eric. It was done. Wasn't sure if he's ever coming back, but you got to give Rick Hendrick credit. You got to give NASCAR credit for allowing him to do the right thing, and earn his spot back. And not only did he do that, he performed. It's just an astounding story at the end of the day.
Right. I mean, I think every one of the 4 championship contenders in the Cup Series, and I argued last week that pretty much all the championship contenders this year through all 3 series had a good story. If they were to win, they all were deserving of a championship, but would have been disappointed to see Larson not pull it off when you have a season like this. I mean, we saw we saw the equivalent of that pretty much last year with Harvick having his dominant season and then not even making the Final Four. It would have been a pretty big bummer to see Larson not seal the deal. That's for sure.
Yeah, Eric, I have a quick stat for you if you'll indulge me. Kyle Larson with his championship added his name to a list of some pretty heavy hitters. If you'd like me to read these off for you,
go for it.
Drivers who have won 10 plus races and a championship in NASCAR's modern era. So 1972 till now. Listen to this list, Eric. This is good. I'll start with Larson. We'll start at the top. Larson. Then 2007, Johnson. Jeff Gordon did it in back-to-back seasons, 97 and 98. Dale Earnhardt, 87. Darrell Waltrip, 81 and 82. Cale Yarborough, 78. And Richard Petty, 74 and 75. That's the list.
Wow.
Johnson, Gordon, Earnhardt, Waltrip, Yarborough, Petty, and now one Kyle Larson. So that is the type of season we're talking about. When you talk about 10 wins plus the championship, he's in rare air right there. Those are all first ballot type Hall of Famers.
Well, and that's the question I was going to ask, because we ask this question all the time. This is
I already tweeted it out.
Our famous conversations that we like to have in this podcast. But you and I have kind of already come to the conclusion that a championship guarantees you a spot in the Hall of Fame if you win the Cup Series championship. 10 wins in the season. I think Larson's already there, right?
Yeah, I welcomed him actually after the race. I wanted to be the first one.
Nice.
So yeah, I tweeted Kyle Larson, welcome to the NASCAR Hall. I didn't get a lot of traction on that tweet, but I was hoping for it. But yeah, I didn't catch fire like I was hoping it would. That's okay.
There you go. Some championships fast facts courtesy of NASCAR. Kyle Larson becomes the 35th driver to accomplish the feat of winning a NASCAR Cup Series championship. He is the 7th different champion in the elimination style format of the Cup Series playoffs. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson are your winners there. 10 wins, 20 top 5s, 26 top 10s on the season. Produced 5 wins, 6 top 5s, and 8 top 10s in the playoffs to tie Tony Stewart for most wins in a single playoff run. He is the 4th NASCAR Cup Series champion from the state of California, joining NASCAR Hall of Famer Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, and Jimmy Johnson. Also,
that's a good list.
Again, yes. Also, Hendrick Motorsports, it is their 14th Cup Series driver owner championship, most all time in the series. 17th NASCAR National Series owner championship, extends the all time record. They have 14 Cup, 3 Gander trucks. That's it. 14 Cup, 3 Gander trucks. First team to win 5 consecutive championships. That isn't new though. So come on, NASCAR, give me. I guess I should have read these in advance.
I was gonna say,
right?
is it the Camping World Truck Series again? I don't think it's the Gander anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
They switched it back.
You're right. Damn it, NASCAR. What?
NASCAR, come on, NASCAR,
What
get your stuff together.
The hell. Crew chief champion. Cliff Daniels from Smithfield, Virginia, won his first NASCAR Cup Series championship. He's the 44th different NASCAR Cup Series crew chief to win a championship, and he has 10 career NASCAR Cup Series wins, all with Kyle Larson. And Jimmy Johnson's team did it again, James.
Fast. Yeah, they did. They did.
So
that 48 car tried to pass the baton last year to Chase Elliott. Little did they know that Chase was passing the baton back to the 48 that would become the 5. So good stuff.
Yeah. So there you go. That is your Cup Series championship fast facts. Let's talk about the other guys, James. Chase Elliott, the defending champion, comes up last of the Final Four. Didn't do terribly, but he ended up 5th in the race.
He was a threat. I mean, he led.
They all were. I mean, really.
Yeah, they were all up there.
I think Denny was the biggest non-threat of the 4, and he was coming at the right time, and just things didn't work out.
Well, Eric, he had a chance.
Yeah.
He was on the front row on that restart and completely. I mean, I don't know what it is with him in big moments. I'll say it. I'm just going to take over. I'm going to say it. He can't get it done. He's never going to win one. That's it.
Here's the thing, James.
Cross him off.
I chose him as my champion last week. And then during the pre-race interviews, he said that it doesn't matter to him whether he wins a championship. He's won all these other things. Championship is just another thing to add to that. He's happy with his career, blah, blah, blah. As soon as I heard that, I knew he wasn't winning this thing because he didn't have the desire that everybody else had. When you already when you're already making excuses why it's not a big deal that you lost the championship before you even run the race, you're not winning.
Yep. And even after the race, he said, "I don't know if I'll ever get back." And I'm just like, "Yeah, with that,
right? Exactly. You're not going to win with that attitude when you're racing against somebody like Kyle Larson. You're just not."
He had a chance on that restart to really challenge him and got blown out again. Like the opportunity presented itself for Denny Hamlin to be able to win this championship. Like you're not going to get much better than that. I'm not going to get on him for losing on pit road, but you're on the front row. Like you've got it. You've got a shot there.
Hey, at least he didn't Justin Allgaier it.
He ended up after that. Yeah, he did.
He didn't get black flag for going below the line too early.
Yeah, I know that was. Yeah. But Eric, that restart, he fell to fourth in the championship order right after that restart. Like he wasn't even a factor, and Larson just drove off with the championship right in front of him. Yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, it's to be expected, I guess, at this point with him. I don't understand. You've got the greatest competitor of all time as your co-owner with your team, and that's the guy that it's yin and yang.
Yep. Stick a fork in him, James. He's done.
I'll say it, man. He's not winning a championship ever. It's not ever gonna happen for him. And I get the same feeling from him that I did rooting for Stewart to win the Daytona 500 all those years. It's just not gonna happen. You're great. You're a Hall of Famer. And this is not going to happen for you. It's just not.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a different feeling than like when Earnhardt was trying to win the Daytona 500. He was always there, and something would prevent him from doing it, but he was always good enough to where you expected it was going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
But Denny's just consistently choked at the right time and just never been able to be in contention for it.
This was his, I believe, I can't remember if this is, I think it was 6th or maybe this was his 7th. Either way. He has come into the final race of the season, even before the elimination, with a chance to win the championship, and he's over. Like, I don't know how many shots you get. Like, how many times can we give you a chance to win?
I believe I heard a stat, and don't quote me if this is wrong, but I believe I heard a stat this past week that in every appearance in this format, Denny has finished 4th of the 4.
Yes.
But this time he didn't, so he improved.
Yeah, he bumped up. Yep.
He moved up one spot because he finished 3rd in the championship, 3rd in the race. And then Martin Truex Jr., man, if Martin Truex Jr. would have had 5 more laps, this would have been a different story. I think he'd have gotten Larson.
Or that caution doesn't come out. Yeah. That caution never comes out. Or even Denny. I would say Denny still did have a shot there.
Right.
But yeah, that caution comes out, and it was I was like, when Martin was winning that race and the laps are winding down, I thought, I cannot believe Martin Truex Jr. is going to win this championship. He's going to steal this championship. And that caution came out, and I kind of rubbed my hands together. I was like, okay, here we go. Yeah. Now we got a race. So that was good.
We talked about the crew aspect of the team aspect, but give credit to Martin Truex Jr.'s team because Kyle Larson had a short run car all day.
Mm-hmm.
And Truex had a long run car, and you were not going to win in a 30-lap stint or however many laps were left there at the end with a long run car. And Truex's team tuned that sucker up to where he hung Larson, and he was close enough to mount a challenge at the end and almost get it done. Big credit. We've given a lot of crap to lap cars over the season. The lap drivers pulling over, letting them race the last lap, not getting in the way. The one kind of might have affected Truex's chance to do a dive bomb going into turn 3, but he wasn't close enough to make it work anyway. If he was going to do that, he'd have wrecked both of them, and Hamlin would have won the championship. So, I mean, I guess that was the only thing I was waiting for at the end is those two to take each other out, but I didn't anticipate that we were going to see any contact if they got next to each other anyway. Both of them, I think, raced pretty respectfully. I wasn't expecting anything crazy.
Martin's not a put a bumper to you kind of driver.
No, and Larson's not either. I mean, Larson's aggressive, but he's not an idiot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Absolutely. I kind of stole the point we were going to talk about Chase Elliott, but I kind of my Denny Hamlin rant. But I thought, we mentioned Truex, but I like what I said earlier. Though I want to go back to is all 4 of these guys at some point in this race, I felt like we're worthy champions.
Yeah.
I mean, they all showed up. They were the best.
They were the top four a
And
lot of the day until you had
the whole
someone
day,
like
yeah.
you had Ryan Blaney up there and Kevin Harvick kind of sneaking in there and battling for it too. But for the most part,
Yep.
it was those four.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And I think that's what you want with this race. And I think the other drivers understand what's going on out there. I mean, I know you had Chase and Kyle had a little bit of contact. Kyle got that little fender flare on the rear end there. That was kind of helping him a little bit, I think.
Right.
But other than that, I think everybody else raced them pretty clean. I saw Martin have to work some traffic on some restarts with Blaney and Harvick and those guys, although they were fast, like you said, Harvick had a great car, great day. Gave Martin plenty of room. Like those are veterans who understand the moment.
And Chase gave Harvick plenty of room too.
Yeah,
I noticed.
Right. Yeah.
Chase is like, nope, you have all the track, buddy. I am going to stay right away from you.
Boy, am I glad that thing calmed itself, because I would have hated to have seen any situation happen out of that.
I would have loved to it see it because I love the controversy, but it really
great to
would
talk about.
It would have really soured the look of our sport for sure. When everybody's chanting, "Let's go, Brandon!" right now, we don't need any more.
Oh Jesus, eyes. Yeah, we don't need anything. Yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned Kevin Harvick. Both Harvick and Blaney raced aggressively up front with those four. Didn't cut him any slack, but also didn't race them dirty, which was good to see. Kevin Harvick winds up with where did he end up? 8th place finish in this thing. Probably one of the strongest races he's had all year, other than Bristol. And comes home with a 5th place championship finish as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He battled back. Remember, he came into the playoffs dead last.
Yep.
So he that's pretty awesome. I thought that team ran really well in the playoffs. Showed signs of life. I don't know what that means anymore. But the way last year was for him, that team was a rocket ship. This season they didn't get the wins, but they were still a pretty consistent team. They just didn't have that speed. So kudos to Kevin. In his age 45 season, he will be 46 going into next season with the next gen car.
Did you see the Tony Stewart fan apology video that he put out?
No, I didn't see that.
Sorry for sucking this year. Basically, it was he pulled himself away from the drag strip long enough to make a video that said, "Sorry, we were terrible."
Actually, I did see that. Now that you mentioned it, yeah.
So
sorry,
it was a good video. I mean, I like the fact that Tony at least acknowledged the fact that they were behind this year. It wasn't really an apology, but I mean, acknowledged the fact that they were behind and they got work to do, and that's good to see.
Well, and I think his, he called Kyle Larson the best driver he's ever seen. I think that was a shot across the bow of the Ford Motor Company.
Yeah, Tony's got to be pissed, man.
He wanted him, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he tried,
but he wasn't getting him because
no, it was never going to happen.
Uncle Rick opened the pocketbook, man. He paid.
Eric,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say let's chase this. Let's chase this one for a second. Yeah. Kyle Larson, the best race car driver you've ever seen.
Well, let me put it this way. There was the driving topic this afternoon on Sirius XM for on David Moody's show. Did Kyle Larson have the best season in NASCAR history?
No.
I will not go on that, but I will say that Kyle Larson had the best motorsports season in history. I don't think we've seen anybody who's been as dominant across the board as Kyle Larson was. What he did was incredible. Is he the best driver? I mean, right now, yeah. I don't know that he's the best driver ever, but he's certainly the best driver right now. There's nobody better than him right now.
Yeah, my answer to this was, I know everybody loves F1 right now, and it's a hot topic, and Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen are the best drivers in the world, right?
Yep.
Well, they have those guys, but NASCAR has Kyle Larson, and I think Kyle Larson can do anything those guys can do. If they were to switch rides and you were to put Larson in an F1 car and Hamilton at, I don't know, Martinsville or Darlington or whatever.
Well, we've seen what strong Formula One drivers have done in NASCAR.
Yeah, I think Kyle Larson's the best driver in the world. I know F1 is highly regarded, but Kyle Larson is the best driver in the world.
They were joking on Sirius today that people are petitioning him not to get into a dragster or not get in a Formula One car because everybody's scared that he's going to go smoke them there too. I just absolutely incredible what he's done. I think part of the key, James, is just the fact that he doesn't stop. He's constantly doing this. So Those guys that go out there and they get pumped up for these big races, they get stressed out for these big moments. Larson lives them every day. This is just a day. You know, racing for a championship, just a day. Putting pressure, just a day. It's just another thing. So none of it gets to him. And so much of the sport is mental that he's got the mental aspect beat. So maybe he's not the greatest driver. Maybe he's the smartest one. And that's what it takes, you know?
Yep.
Just
I think so. I think you're right. Absolutely
incredible what he's done. I mean, this is a season for the ages. Kyle, mad props to you for what you've done. Totally respect you for what you've done. Cheered for you all season. Now you've won enough. I'm going to hate you from here forward, but I'm going to be a true NASCAR fan, and I hate the winners. No, I'm just kidding. Totally respect what he's done. I mean, just absolutely incredible.
And for those people who think that this is the best season ever in a NASCAR Cup, can I direct you back to Mr. Jeff Gordon? Let's just 97 and 98. Just put those 2 years in a box. Nobody was ever better than Jeff Gordon.
Pretty sure there's a couple Dale Earnhardt seasons that were pretty damn good too. I mean,
I'm looking at Jeff Gordon's season from 98 particularly. 5.7 average finish, 28 top 10s out of a 33 race schedule, and 13 wins. So I will rest my case with that one. I feel pretty good. If that's the hand I'm dealt in a game of poker and I got that one, it's going to be tough to beat me on that one.
James, it's nice to be justified finally, because we were on the Kyle Larson train of how good this guy is going to be.
Yes,
and
absolutely,
he never showed it, and then now gets an opportunity in a car that actually is competitive. And look what he did.
I was joking that he'd be a 7-time champ already if he had started with Hendrick. Yeah. He'd already have his 7. So it's just incredible what it's just everything that we kind of were hoping for when he got into a Hendrick car. It's like, okay, if this guy ever gets top flight equipment, look out, and by God, he got top flight equipment, and look out.
Yeah.
Changed the course of history.
And just, you took a guy who was good at 2-mile tracks. He was good at the long sweeping tracks, and you put him in this car, and suddenly he was good everywhere. Everywhere but super speedways. You could count on Kyle Larson being up front. The short tracks he was magnificent at. Road course. I mean, come on. Chase Elliott was a road course king, and then all of a sudden here comes Kyle Larson and he beats him.
3 wins on road courses this year. Should have had 4.
Crazy, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, just absolutely amazing. We mentioned Kevin Harvick, Ryan Blaney, also major contender all day long. Leads 33 laps, finishes 4th. The only guy amongst the playoff drivers breaking up that four car battle with the fourth place finish. Good day for Ryan Blaney, looking good to round the season.
I go back to Kansas, Eric. I go back to Kansas. He should have been in this conversation.
Yep.
And the way they raced at Phoenix, and I know he wasn't driving, with the urgency of a championship like the other guys were. So I just can only imagine they got to be kicking themselves.
That damn Austin Dillon, man.
I know. Yeah. Yep.
So, what else do we want to talk about with this race? Otherwise, it was a pretty straightforward race. Bubba Wallace finishes last in 39th. He was victim of the Corey LaJoie wrecking ball the first few laps of this race. Corey LaJoie tried the same move on 2 different cars and wrecked both of them. I would argue the second one probably not quite his fault, but the first one definitely was under Bubba.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, kind of what you expect here, right? I mean, Eric Almirola got a 6th place finish. That's worth mentioning.
Yeah, we had some tire failures.
Yeah.
That took out Chase Briscoe. Quinn Houff, I think, had some issues there too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we should mention the end of the Ganassi organization. They went out pretty solid. Chastain and Kurt Busch, 14th and 16th. Man, it's going to be weird not seeing Chip Ganassi racing in NASCAR Cup Series competition. Brad Keselowski, Eric, cheers to the 2 for the last time for him.
Yeah, very cool piece he put out during the week.
Yeah, loved it. Yes.
Yeah, his final toast to Penske Motorsports. I think the cool thing is that you can tell Brad's not leaving with, he's not leaving with bad feelings. He respects what he got there, and I mean, they took a chance with him. This is a kid that was going to Hendrick and got screwed out of a ride, and Penske picked him up, and look what he became a champion as a result.
Became a champion, and I mentioned last week I think he's probably the most underrated driver in the sport.
I think we both very much agree on that. I think Brad fell victim to being a little bit of a punk early on, and he just doesn't have the fan support. He does here. It's hard for James and I to understand because we're from Michigan, and Brad's got tons of support in Michigan.
Yeah, every time we see him, he's always fairly well cheered, but we don't see him at Daytona.
When we went to Eldora and he got cheered when he wrecked, I mean, that's
that was weird for us.
Yeah, I mean, it is Ohio, and Ohio and Michigan hate each other, so it makes sense.
He was super nice to us that day too.
Yeah, he was. He's a good guy. I like Brad. Brad's a good guy. I've had a lot of good run-ins with Brad. He's always a super good guy, and I very much respect Brad because when you talk to him, he always addresses whoever he's talking to by name, and it's not in a pretentious way. It's very sincere that he wants to make sure that he's addressing you. He's a good guy. Honestly, James, I'm sad to see that he couldn't work something out with Penske because Brad to me is a Penske type of guy. He is a clean cut, fits in that organization very well. He's going to do a great job at Roush.
And I think that's why he had to leave, Eric.
Yeah,
because he is a Penske guy. He reached his ceiling with them. And he wants to be Roger Penske.
Yep.
It's no different than what Tony did back in the late 2000s when he went to Stuart Haas and started his thing there.
I'm sure that had nothing to do with the Toyotas they were running too.
That was probably part of it. But the story goes that Joe Gibbs wasn't too happy with him, and he said, "But Joe, if I'm ever gonna become you, I have to find a way to make that step, and I'm never gonna have an opportunity like this to become you."
Yeah.
So, and I think Brad's very much in the same boat. I'm glad that he's going to be around and kind of be an elder statesman for our sport for a long time.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. And I really hope with the next gen car that he can perform. And I think somebody like him can bring in really good people to make those cars faster. I hope to see Roush Fenway Racing back into some competitive space here very soon.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely, the sport will be better with the competitive Roush Fenway Racing, which my understanding is there will be a name change announcement coming.
Yeah, he was there today. He was at Roush today. So I wonder if we're going to have RFK or something like that. I don't know, but we're going to be very, very, very cool to have him in there. I'm really looking forward to what he's going to do.
Yeah. James, per Jenna Fryer, did you know that there was a superstar NASCAR driver that almost didn't get to start the race at Phoenix this weekend?
A superstar.
Yeah. Self-proclaimed superstar.
Jeez, Pete, man.
What an embarrassment. I probably should have saved Matt DiBenedetto for our Jackass Corner.
I've got a few more.
Yeah. So, Matt DiBenedetto almost didn't get to race this race because during qualifying, he gave the "Let's Go Brandon" chant to camera, retweeted unretired from Twitter to retweet this video, which, by the way, he's issued an apology, but that video is still on his Instagram. Jackass. And apparently Penske was not very happy and almost pulled him. And I think, James, you made a great point. If they would have stuck Brandon in that car, that would have been so cool to put Brandon Brown in that car for the Cup race. I've lost sympathy for Matty D. I think Reddit is finally over Matty D. Sorry, man.
I mean,
and then the apology video is another attempt at garnering sympathy for himself. I do feel bad for Matt because I feel that he's in a place right now that he's fighting some demons or something, man, because he's just digging a hole deeper and trying to make everybody feel sorry for him.
Have you ever seen anything as strange? I mean, I know we've had strange things happen in NASCAR. By God, we've had many weird situations, but that one, just the full court press of whatever the hell he was thinking. Yeah. I don't know what he was doing out there.
Well, I mean, we brought attention to him last week because he was
just
being
strange.
Stupid, jumping on a bandwagon, and then, James, he said behavior. That he didn't like where he was because he was being muffled. Well, now we got to see what unmuffled Matt DiBenedetto looks like, and I don't think we like it too much.
Yeah, I don't think people like that too much.
Put the muzzle back on him, man.
Yeah, if you're a Let's Go Brandon chanter. Maybe he's your guy, but
Yeah.
he ain't going to be getting any promotions to higher quality rides doing
No.
stuff like that the way he did it. And I just I don't like the chant for many reasons.
I'm so sick of the
Obviously,
chant. It's run its course.
it's so dumb, but I see the flags flying everywhere I go. I mean, I took a trip up north this weekend, for getting ready for deer season here in Michigan, and got into rural Michigan, and there's "Let's Go Brandon" everywhere, and I can't believe that started where it started.
I guess to be fair, I do prefer the "Let's Go Brandon" chant versus the one that it replaces.
Yeah.
Just because I don't need to hear that, regardless of your political viewpoint.
Yep.
But I feel like it really upsets me when I hear it in NASCAR because I feel like our sport's being made fun of with the chant.
Oh yeah, that's why I get so angry about it. Is because it makes us look like it's just increases the stereotype that people already think about us, just redneck hicks, that kind of thing. And it just drives me crazy. And I hate it for Brandon Brown. Like,
right.
He's gonna have this victory that he's always wanted, and he'll probably never win another race. And it's gonna.
To be fair, he's probably getting a little bit extra publicity out of it that he wouldn't
probably
have gotten otherwise. So
probably, but it's not the kind of. I guess any publicity is good publicity, as they say. But I don't think he wants that. I don't know. But anyway, Matt DiBenedetto. Don't let the door.
Former Cup Series driver Matt DiBenedetto.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out, bud. Sorry.
He'll end up in a truck ride or something next year somewhere. Somebody's gonna pick him up, but
yeah, hopefully he just closes his yap and races.
Yeah.
And quit playing the poor me card and hiding behind the cloth.
You don't get to do stupid stuff and then play poor me. You know, when the deck is stacked against you, you can play the victim a little bit, but when you do it yourself.
Yep.
And he still mustered a 12th place finish on the day, so
he did. And off he goes into the sunset.
Anything else with this race, James, before we move on to the other two of the weekend?
I can't believe we are done.
I know.
But no, that was a hell of a day. Man, so many ups and downs.
Ish, but good Phoenix race.
Yeah, the last 75 laps or so got to be really enticing. I mean, Game 7 moments, that's what NASCAR wants, and I think we got one.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep, I agree. Speaking of Game 7 moments, James, I don't think we got more of a Game 7 moment than we did in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Daniel Hemrick is finally a NASCAR Xfinity Series NASCAR champion, or major Xfinity series winner.
Yeah.
He's finally won in one of the top 3 series, and he
Eric,
got a championship out of it.
Take your bow. You said
before the end of the season.
And as the season came to a close, he did it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What?
I was thinking about you when he made that pass. I was like, look at that. Eric nailed it. He did. He got it.
What an incredible green-white checker finish. What an incredible last corner pass.
As the best race of the weekend was the Xfinity Series championship race.
Cindric not overly happy with the result, but I think accepting of what occurred. Hemrick didn't dump him. He just used him up.
He used him up. That's absolutely true. He used up every bit of real estate he had. But when the championship's on the line and the flag's flying,
dude, you do that for your first win.
Oh,
forget the championship, and now you throw the championship on top of it. Hell yeah, go for it,
dude. And that car, that's the other story. Didn't make it to the track. Didn't make it.
Yeah.
Because of an issue in Texas.
Yeah, what, 30 minutes or something before practice?
That car, yeah. And they still had the scratch on the left or the right front fender from a piece of equipment that fell in the car.
Yeah. And didn't have any of their own stuff during practice. They're borrowing equipment from everybody else to adjust the car.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
the way he got it done is just unbelievable. And then of course Gibbs kicks him out, and he'll be racing for Kaulig in 2022.
Right.
But what a story for Daniel Hemrick in so many ways. I mean, there's that story, Eric, but then of course he's been in the Cup Series, got pushed out for Tyler Reddick, which honestly, like, Tyler Reddick's a Larson-ish talent.
I feel bad for the lack of time he was given in the Cup Series to prove himself.
It's a short leash. Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, I would have made the same move.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't pass up the opportunity for somebody like Reddick when Hemrick was struggling.
Exactly. And then he gets that ride at JR Motorsports kind of strung along, barely, he made 21 starts, but wasn't a full season, wasn't a full campaign. And then we come to find out in the press conference, he wasn't getting paid unless he got top 5 finishes. I can't believe it. It's just, what a story. It's just awesome. What a great championship that is for him. And Joe Gibbs Racing, we know their Xfinity Series program's fantastic. We don't need to talk about their, driver getting a championship, but man, just so cool.
Yeah.
Just so cool.
I think the coolest moment of the weekend, it's hard to make Carl Edwards look like a chump, but when you do the backflip off the roof of the car instead of the door of the car,
that
you
was
make
good.
Carl Edwards look like a chump, man.
Wow.
That was incredible. Very, very cool to see the backflip.
Cool.
We've been reminded a couple times during the season that he does a backflip after he wins, but we've never seen it,
It's been 7 years since he's won anything.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Anyway,
I mean, do you practice the backflip ahead of time just in case? Like,
you must have to practice it somehow.
Imagine the pressure of doing that on the front stretch after winning the championship.
Yep. That's, whew.
Here are some NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship fast facts for Daniel Hemrick. It's his first NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship, of course. He's the 31st different driver to win the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship. And let's see, 33 starts this season, posting the 1 win, 15 top 5s, and 21 top 10s. 6 top 5s and 6 top 10s in the playoffs. He's become the 7th NASCAR Xfinity Series champion from the state of North Carolina, joining William Byron in 2017, Austin Dillon 2013, Brian Vickers 2003, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 98, 99, Jack Ingram 85 and 82, and Sam Ard 83 and 84. Let's see, Joe Gibbs' 3rd NASCAR Xfinity Series driver championship, Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, and now Daniel Hemrick. He also has 5 NASCAR Xfinity Series Owners Championships. He is one of 20 different organizations to win the NASCAR Xfinity Series Drivers Championship and one of 19 different organizations to win the Owners Championship. Dave Rogers' first career NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship as crew chief, and previous best finish in the Xfinity Series Championship standings was 4th with Denny Hamlin in 2006. 29th different crew chief to win the NASCAR Xfinity Series title. He's won 21 NASCAR Xfinity Series races with 6 drivers: Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart, Eric Almirola, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and now Daniel Hemrick.
Wow.
The Owners Championship did go to Team Penske with the 2020 or 22 car. Team Penske's series leading 6th NASCAR Xfinity Series Owner Championship, 2013, 14, 15, 17, 20, and 21. Let's see. He fielded the team's first car in the series with NASCAR Hall of Famer Rusty Wallace behind the wheel, Auto Club Speedway on October 19th, 1997.
Man, that's crazy. I thought we've been, I was for those listening and you're thinking, well, how did Team Penske win the Owners Championship? The 54 car actually qualified for the Owners Championship, not the 18. So if you were thinking Owners Championship, it was actually John Hunter Nemechek. They brought in the ringer to try to get the owner's title, and it ended up being for Cindric anyway. So Penske gets the owner's title with the 2nd place finish, and the 18 car with Daniel Hemrick gets its driver's championship.
There you go.
Pretty cool. I didn't think we'd see that again, honestly, Eric. I thought the days of the owner's title and the driver's title being separate were over, but the Xfinity Series is where that happens quite a bit.
Right.
And I thought those days were done, but by God, they did it again.
Stick someone like cool. Ty Gibbs in there, that'll do that.
I always love the Owners Championship. I love that it's a separate thing. I don't know why. It's just a nerd type thing.
It doesn't get enough attention.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
We did have one instance in the Cup Series where it was not majorly contended, but it did mess with some things, and that was when Earnhardt died because we had Kevin Harvick finishing out the season in that car. Yep. So that was a little bit different between the driver's points and the owner's points, but otherwise we haven't seen it much there. But
Tony Stewart has a championship as a Toyota driver as a member of the 20 car that year. That team won that championship, and they had that. I mean, that's one of the great things about the Xfinity Series is you get these ringer teams together, like the 54 car. That 20 team had Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart. It was that's an all-star superstar lineup competing in the Xfinity Series, which is pretty fun.
It's like when Kevin Harvick had his team too. They do the same thing and just run everybody through it.
Yep, Stewart would run Daytona, and then they'd run everybody else, throughout the season. Harvick would run, and then Harvick would run some art. Like Harvick would win championships racing for two different teams. There was that era. Xfinity Series can be fun.
Yeah,
it's just fun, sloppy fun.
Other drivers in the championship for AJ Allmendinger kind of struggled all day. Could not get the car right. Tried to take some swings at it, but just never able to fully recover. Where the heck did he end up? I'm trying to find him here. 14th on the day for AJ Allmendinger.
The note I had on AJ Allmendinger, I'll real quick, Eric.
Yep.
So he had that late spin, right?
Yep.
With the loose wheel, and Dale Jr. said during the broadcast, "Well, we have to find out if that was intentional or not." And I just put my hands on my head. That I can't believe he said that. Why would you say that? Just stirring up stuff when you say stuff like that.
Especially when you're a guy who's spun on purpose. So the argument, though, James, is that we've seen drivers cut down tires and not spin out. And we a lot of times question whether that's just their awesome ability to not spin out. But it has been brought to our attention in recent years, especially over the last couple seasons, that it's a lot harder maybe to spin those out than we think it is, and that a lot of that is intentional to get that yellow. It was a pretty convenient caution for AJ.
Yes, it was.
But that wheel was loose. Those were some ovals in that wheel.
Oh yeah, that tire was wobbling all over the place.
My God.
And AJ never had a shot, unfortunately.
No.
On
and
Saturday.
That wasn't going to save him. I mean, if it wasn't on purpose, it was a last ditch effort.
Yeah.
But it was a Hail Mary. It wasn't going to save him anyway.
Yep, that was a 2-man championship race all day.
Yeah, I've got Noah Gragson here in the notes too, but I mean he was there, but
he was there.
He was at in the same race as these guys, but never really a threat.
You know what though? Next year, he'll be one of the favorites.
Yep.
I think Hemrick, Gregson, and Allmendinger will all be in the conversation next year.
Oh yeah,
with
for sure.
Cindric moving on to the 2-car in the Cup Series.
Well, Gregson shook the monkey this year. They finished out the season, shook the monkey, matured a lot in the process. I think he learned a lot from struggling the way they did the first part of the season.
Had arguably the best finish, the best win in the Xfinity Series season was that win. Well, Hemrick.
Yeah.
But Martinsville was an incredible win for that team, with backs against the wall. Just beautiful, beautiful racing. When Noah Gragson is a 15-year Cup vet, I'm going to remember that Martinsville race and that guy, because it was a special moment. So he's got more to come. He's still young. AJ is going to be the old guard next year, and he's going to run a heck of a lot of races, and he's going to be there too. So nothing to worry about. And this was definitely a great step in the right direction. Sometimes that's all you can take from these things is you made the right, you made the right direction. You improved and you matured. For him, that's a big deal for him.
You mentioned, this race was an excellent race, probably best race of the weekend. A couple of drivers worth mentioning. Riley Herbst finishes 4th, a driver who struggled a lot this season. You mentioned John Hunter Nemechek coming in, trying to get the Owners' Championship, finishes 6th. Brett Moffitt, again, continuing to do things with that 02 car that just shouldn't be done, finishes top 10 with an 8th place finish. Justin Allgaier, certainly a strong contender in this race, blew the restart, changing lanes before the start-finish line. Winds up coming back for a 9th place finish. Sheldon Creed didn't even know he was in the race.
Sheldon Creed.
Yes.
But
I was going to ask you, look who finished 10th.
Yeah, 10th place finish for him, so good on him. Michael Annett, final, at least full-time NASCAR Xfinity Series start, finishes 11th on the 1 car. Said he's hoping to come back for some races next year. So
led a lap too.
Yeah. So otherwise, kind of what you expect out of this one. There were some spins and whatnot and some contact, but for the most part, just an all-around great race. Love this series. I think the race lengths are perfect. I will die on that hill, and just the composite bodies work. We saw some contact that didn't cut tires down, which was awesome. Looking forward to seeing that next year in the Cup Series, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
And sad to see the Xfinity Series done for the year, really.
Yeah, I don't. Hopefully, I'm not stepping on the notes. The rookie of the year goes to Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
Who wasn't even trying to win it.
Right.
Finishes 13th in points in an unbelievable season. Before we put a bow on the full season here, but I was looking at the top 10 in points. You've got Allgaier up there, Haley Jones, Brandon Jones, Harrison Burton. Good crop of young talent. We got some guys going up to Cup. That's what you like to see with some of these guys, taking steps in the right direction. We've definitely got a healthy Xfinity series right now, and I'd love to see where it's at. It's doing really well. I haven't felt this good about the Xfinity series in a long time. I think the last 3 years with this series has really, given it its own identity, and it's just doing very well. Seems like it's in a very healthy place.
I kind of feel really good about all 3 series right now, James. We're going to talk about the Truck Series Championship here in a minute. I was worried about the Truck Series a couple years ago.
Me too, yeah.
But, we've got some good talent in there. It's become its own identity in the Crash Fest, Wreck Fest that it is. But, you've got some guys graduating from there, moving up next year too. So, the ladder's alive and well. And it seems like we've got talent to fill those holes that we're losing with those drivers coming up too. So, I think all 3 series pretty healthy right now for sure. And hey, I was not in favor of reducing field sizes, but maybe cutting those field sizes down a little bit in these 2 series has helped it and made it a little bit stronger. So you don't have quite as many of the guys running around at the back just making starts. So
yeah, absolutely.
Anything else with Xfinity before we move on to the Truck Series, James?
Nope. I think we're ready for one heck of a post-race interview here for the Truck Series.
Yeah, I was gonna say, post-race interviews. We did not acknowledge Caitlin Larson shotgunning beers in Victory Lane and beyond.
Doing what she does. Yeah.
So apparently several of those occurred on championship evening. The other driver who I think is probably still celebrating his championship, probably Ben Rhodes.
Oh yeah. Celebrating hard.
Yeah, he had a good night, I guess, and nights beyond that. Truck Series champion Ben Rhodes finishes ahead of Zane Smith to win his first championship. Let's we'll shoot down some fast facts here for Ben Rhodes. First NASCAR Xfinity Series or Truck Series championship. 19th different driver to win a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series championship. He finished third in the Camping World Truck Series finale at Phoenix to get the title win. Finishes the 2021 season with 22 starts, 2 wins, 8 top 5s, and 16 top 10s. Posted 3 top 5s and 5 top 10s during the playoffs. He is the first NASCAR Camping World Truck Series champion from the state of Kentucky, James.
Oh, that's a good one.
I will say I've had a chance to talk to Ben Rhodes several times, talked to him after his first ever win at Kentucky. And he's a good guy. I love Ben. Ben's a great guy. Owner of the team, Duke and Rhonda Thorson, Thorsport Racing. It's their 4th all-time NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Driver Championship. Matt Crafton won the previous ones in 13, 14, and 19. It's the most driver titles by an organization in the series all-time. It is their first NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Owner Championship and one of 16 organizations to win in the Camping World Truck Series Driver Championship and the 15th different organization to win the Owners Championship. 23 wins in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series for Thorsport among 5 different drivers: Terry Cook, Matt Crafton, Johnny Sauter, Ben Rhodes, and Chase Briscoe. Owners Duke and Rhonda Thorson field their first truck with driver Terry Cook at the Milwaukee Mile on July 6, 1996, James.
Nice.
Crew chief champion Rich Lushes, I think is how you say his name. It's his first NASCAR Camping World Truck Series championship. His previous best championship finish was 9th with driver Myatt Snyder, or as James likes to call him, Matt Snyder, in 2019.
He's just Matt.
23rd different crew chief to win a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series championship. He has 2 career NASCAR Camping World Truck Series victories, both with driver Ben Rhodes.
Perfect.
And while Ben Rhodes won the championship, this was our only race of the weekend that had a different winner than the champion. With Chandler Smith winning both stages and the race, leading 39 laps on the day to get the win. Of course, we did have somebody who dominated the race with 106 laps led. That was
Sheldon Creed. Yes.
Who comes home 4th.
That might be the last time I hear that this season, so I'm going to soak it in.
Well, I mean, keep in mind that you won't hear it next year because he will be racing for Fox and NBC.
Racing on Fox and NBC.
No more Vince Welch. I might have to delete him off the board.
No, don't get rid of Vince. I'm going to miss this show. I'm going gonna miss that so much. You guys have no idea how much I love that.
You guys have no idea how much time I spent finding that audio clip, because despite the fact that it sounds like he says that all the time, it's a lot harder to find it when you're looking for it than what you think.
So good. What a waste of time.
Right? Yeah. This is what we do.
Just to make me giggle. That's all it is.
It was 100% just to see James laugh.
Yep.
Very
Makes me laugh every time he plays it too.
That one and this one was for James.
I'm gonna bust his ass.
So
yeah, that one too. Yeah, that one always. Yep. No, I think fondly of those days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those were good days. Yes,
for sure. Sir. Yes, sir.
John Hunter Nemechek, obviously the favorite to win the championship. Trouble early, cuts down a tire with contact, and it was lap 1, wasn't it, that he got the contact?
Yeah, he had he did.
Fought all day to recover, kept slipping out of the lucky dog position, finally gets his lap back, but just not able to capitalize. Still finished 7th. So
Yep. And the good news is he gets to come back and try again.
Yeah. Yep.
Next year. I said that with a straight face.
Yeah. Here's what Kyle Busch had to say.
We got beat.
There you go. I'm using the soundboard today, man. I haven't used it much this year.
You got to use it up. You got to fight. Yeah, you got to be done with it. This is it.
Yep.
This is it.
I don't think I used this one on the podcast. We don't have to worry about it here, but earlier in the season in the Cup Series, we had to worry about these.
Giant ass scores.
There we go. Got that one on the board too. All right.
Thanks, Dale.
Next week, we're going to do a podcast next week. James isn't going to be on. It's just going to be me playing on the soundboard. So
that'll be the best one of the year.
Yeah, James just talked over Noah Gregson. Let me do that one again.
Stepped on my ding dong there.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so not as much of a wreck fest as what we've seen, but there were still plenty of cautions in this one.
Yes, there were.
Well, I guess not really. 4 for 25 laps, so it wasn't bad.
I mean, it wasn't a wreck fest, but it was there. It seemed like it was restart heavy there late. Yeah. But Ben Rhodes, there was no challenger to him.
No.
It was pretty much his day, and what happens in the Truck Series quite often is the champion typically doesn't win the race.
Right.
But he partied like an animal afterwards. Him and Bud Light, pushing the sponsor hopes and dreams there. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I heard something about in the media center they replaced the Bud Light with a bottle of water, and he was upset with that decision. As for the best.
It was the best sound bites of the whole weekend. Was him after that race staring at his Bud Light lovingly. He just like
Ben Rhodes is a good time without a win and without alcohol, so without a championship. So with it, good times. Good times.
Yes, very good times.
So. Anything else with the Truck Series, James? Kind of a low key Truck Series race, honestly.
Yeah, they kept themselves out of trouble. That's for sure.
Not even really a whole lot to mention. Stuart Friesen muscled a second place finish on this one. Again, Chandler Smith didn't dominate the race, but dominated where it counted. I mean, it pretty much every run was working his way toward the front to finish the stage in the lead. So not surprising there. Matt Crafton didn't really do much all day. Finishes 12th in this one. The worst finishing of the 4 championship drivers. Mentioned Zane Smith finishes 5th place to finish 2nd in the points. Zane arguably, racing for a ride next year, not knowing where he's going to be. Fell victim to the Chip Ganassi sale because that's where he was headed. So another driver getting Ross Chastained by Chip Ganassi Racing.
Yeah, that's too bad. Eric, is Ben Rhodes coming back next year to defend his title?
I think he is. I don't know that there's an opportunity in the Xfinity Series for him.
Yeah, I'm looking through some of the notes archives on him, and there's nothing on the Cup Series or the Xfinity Series, I should say, for him.
I like Ben a lot. I think he's got some talent. I don't think he's ready to be out of the Truck Series. I think
he's only 24 years old, but he's been around.
He's still got some stuff to prove there. Not that we saw Noah Gragson in the Xfinity Series. Not that you have to have a ton of maturity in the Xfinity Series, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't think he's consistent enough to be up there. Obviously, he's got the title, but we're also awarding titles in the non-Cup Series regular Truck Series start, era.
Right.
So
exactly.
Not to take anything away from, he's still champion, and good on Ben for getting it done. But
absolutely, absolutely.
I don't know where I'd put him in the Xfinity Series if he was to jump up.
Yeah, I don't know either. He's in the Toyota camp, and that's crowded. So
Yep.
you've got a lot of talent up in front of you.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody moving in the Cup Series.
When 75% of the series is Toyotas, which is what the Truck Series is,
yes, so
kind of hard to find a spot for you in the next.
Well, ThorSport goes back and forth too. They've been in the Ford camp recently.
Yeah, they do change manufacturers about every 2 seasons.
Yes, they do. Yep.
So, and with that, James, the season is over. All 3 series. I did want to have a little discussion here about Phoenix Raceway. We know that the NASCAR Championship weekend is coming back to Phoenix Raceway next year. We learned this week that it's going to, or no, I take that back. I was going to say it was going to come with the addition of the Whelen Modifieds, but they're going to wrap their season up at Martinsville the weekend before. But anyway, there was a lot of talk about Phoenix not being the right track to end the season at. I wanted to get your opinion after we've seen 2 races here. Or 2 seasons end here. What do we think about that now? Are we satisfied? Obviously, we love Homestead, but are we satisfied with Phoenix as a championship race? I thought it performed really, really well this weekend for what it has in the past.
Yeah, I thought it was a good showing. I still miss Homestead. I long for Homestead because I thought it was such a great track for us, but
it was still all the races were competitive, and that's what I want to see. I want to see competitive races.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the top 4 were in the. I mean, that's what makes the championship race good, is if everybody who's in contention is in contention and racing for it. So, and this, the Cup Series race proved it. You had a fantastic finish in the Xfinity Series, and, that's really all you can ask for. And if we do decide to start rotating the championship around a little bit, good on them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it if it moved. I don't mind if it stays a little while. NASCAR's kind of made their decision. So we'll see what we'll see what the next couple of years brings, but I think Phoenix has done a pretty good job of crowning the champion. You're the first track replacing Homestead, and that's a losing proposition in my opinion.
The only argument I would say is I do feel like, and I think we're working this direction. If Phoenix gets a championship, and I think any race that gets a championship, I think that is the only race of the season. I don't think we should go there twice.
That's true. I like that.
But I'm of the opinion that we don't go anywhere twice, except maybe a couple places, for sentimental reasons, and even that I'm okay if we get rid of those. I thought after last weekend at Martinsville, it'd be really great to see a championship finish up somewhere like there, or maybe California when they reconfigure it. But I don't know, James. I don't think I want to see what we saw in the Truck Series at Martinsville as our championship race, and that's
tough. Yep.
This type of track lends itself to not seeing that. You might see a move like you saw in the Xfinity Series race, but it's not just dirty. So it doesn't encourage that like Martinsville does. So
right.
I'm pretty happy with it. Again, I'd like to see it rotate, but I think Phoenix has really held its own. I think it really helps that we've run the 750 package in the Cup Series. Who knows what we get next year when that package doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
And I'm not ready for a road course to be introduced either. We need to keep it on oval. But if they did say we're going to Martinsville one year, I'd actually be excited about it. But I agree with you. I think we'd have to worry about a wreck fest. But I think we're in a good place. It can still be improved, I think. But
I'm okay for somebody getting cleaned out to qualify for the championship, but I'm not okay with somebody getting cleaned out to win the championship.
For the title. Yeah. So. Yep. I agree with that. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. That is it. Let's talk some news, because we got a little bit of news this week. I guess before we put a bow on the season, Chase Briscoe quietly wins Rookie of the Year in the NASCAR Cup Series.
He did?
So congratulations to Chase Briscoe on getting that done.
Yep.
We learned this week that AJ Allmendinger expects to run 12 to 15 Cup Series races next season in the second Kaulig car. I think that's a good choice. It'd be interesting to see with what AJ does next year, if he runs well in that Cup car, if he runs well in the Xfinity car, do they give him a shot full time in the Cup Series or not, or do they consider AJ too old to do that?
I just feel like he should be, with the way the sport's going with road course racing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't come on the podcast and again say it seems like a no-brainer because he's so great there, but I'm not the person in charge at Kaulig, so
right.
I just feel like that value would be so beneficial for them at the end of the season. When you look at the point standings, instead of being 20th, you're at least 16th. It's a big jump to be a playoff contender.
Right. And I mean, I know they got all their eggs in the Justin Haley basket, but I'm sorry. I feel like AJ's a bigger talent than Justin Haley is. I mean, Haley might get there, but I don't think he's there yet.
No, not yet. Nope.
So obviously he's proven himself on super speedways, but there's only 4 of those. So
yeah. I would have flip-flopped it and let Justin Haley run those 15 races and let AJ compete for a playoff spot, honestly. But
I agree.
Again, that's just me. So
we've run Justin Haley and AJ Allmendinger in Cup Series cars this year. Who's the one who's got the win?
Right.
So
right.
AJ knows what he's doing next year, but there are several drivers who don't know what they're doing for 2022. First one on the board, Anthony Alfredo, uncertain of where he's going.
The sauce.
Yeah, we'll run through these, and if we want to discuss any of them, we can. Ryan Newman, still not sure what his plans are going to be. Sounds like he might just go back and race some local stuff. Hard to say there. I know there was talk at Roush of possibly fielding something part-time for him. And then Zane Smith, we mentioned him, second in the championship for the Truck Series, had an opportunity to win it. Originally was planning on going to Chip Ganassi Racing, signed with Chip Ganassi Racing, and then Chip Ganassi Racing sold and left Zane Smith out in the cold, and he's looking for something to do next year as well. So you'd think probably of these 3, Zane's probably the easiest one to pick up, probably get a Truck Series ride somewhere next year. A lot of those rides don't end up taken until maybe even as late as January, so he's got some time to work on that. I don't know what you do with Alfredo, and I think Newman, as much as I've grown to respect Ryan Newman over the years, where I wasn't a Newman fan when he was in his prime. I got a chance to talk with him and whatnot, and learned who Ryan Newman is a little bit more. It's a bummer to see him go, but I think the pool's dried up in the Cup Series for Ryan Newman.
I'd love to see Ryan Newman go full-time truck racing.
I would love it.
I think that would be a really nice spot for him. The Mark Martin ceremonial role that never happened.
Well, I miss that when the Johnny Bensons and the Mike Skinners would go back down to the Truck Series and finish out their careers there.
Yeah,
I think it was such a good mix with the young drivers to have the elder statesmen. Maybe that would clean up the lack of respect we have in that series right now.
Oh, he'd take care of it.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You wouldn't screw with Ryan Newman.
No, you don't mess with the Rocket Man.
No.
So. And he's run the trucks not too. I mean, he's run Eldora a handful of times,
right?
In the trucks. So, he's been in a truck here fairly recently. But, I'd love to see that type of role for him. And maybe a part-time cup schedule if he can work that out with Roush. I think that would be a really nice way for him to go out, kind of on his own terms. I think he wants to be a full-time Cup driver. There's no more room for him. So.
Right.
Unfortunately, when Brad made his decision, that kind of sealed Ryan's fate.
Yep.
So.
Speedway Motorsports gonna be buying Dover Motorsports Incorporated. James, what do we think of that? Dover, Nashville, gonna go to the hands of Speedway SMI.
Well, I think Dover is okay for one date on the schedule, but this is a move positioning Nashville Fairgrounds here eventually.
Yeah, I feel like this is a move that probably seals the final nail in the coffin for Dover eventually.
Probably, you might be right. I'd hate to see Dover go. I mean, it's not the greatest track in the world, but it's just one of those we've always gone there.
Maybe James, what it will do is it will bring Marcus Smith in.
Can we put some blacktop?
Put the asphalt down. Yeah. That's what we need at Dover.
Yeah.
Get rid of that concrete and make this race stop sucking.
Maybe a little progressive banking. Maybe just a little.
Yeah,
that track has so much potential.
I'm not going to cheer. Even I don't mind Pocono losing a date. I don't want to see any track lose all their dates. I'm disappointed still as much as Kentucky sucked. I'm still disappointed we lost Kentucky. Certainly disappointed we lost Chicago. I'd rather cut second dates off and keep original dates.
That being said, I know Nashville Super Speedway is back and running again, but if they shut that place down for the fairgrounds, I'm not gonna. I mean, we don't have any history there.
And that is the thing. Like when Dover owns it, Dover gave up the Dover race to run at Nashville Super Speedway.
Yep.
It isn't going to hurt SMI to close that place down and run a race at Nashville.
No, they don't care. So
exactly. Yep. SMI has done that before. North Wilkesboro.
I'm surprised the Dover thing happened, Eric, because they held strong for so long. So that's a tough one. That
leaves us Pocono and Gateway now, right?
Yeah, Gateway. Yeah, yep.
That's it. Everyone else is owned by one of the big two.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I'm still nervous with this whole SMI, ISC, NASCAR thing because, you know, when one organization is not NASCAR, not that I want NASCAR to own all the tracks, but when one organization that's not NASCAR owns half of the schedule, it puts them in a real good position to use that power to get their way or start a rival series. And we already saw that with, you know, the SMI-ish Indy Racing League. And I don't want to see that happen in NASCAR. I feel there's an inevitability it's going to happen eventually, but I don't want to see it happen. So.
Yeah, no, neither do I.
NASCAR announced the Busch Light Clash format today, James. I have it right here in front of me from my NASCAR email. 2 days of racing, Saturday and Sunday at the LA Coliseum. Let's see. Saturday, Cup Series competitors will take to the track for practice sessions prior to single-car qualifying runs to determine the starting order for the 4 scheduled heat races. The field will be open to 40 entrants. Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Fox. 4 25-lap heat races consisting of 10 cars each. I'm not going to go through the breakdown of how they decide who's going to be in each heat race and all that crap. You guys can go check out the show notes, thesuperspeedway.com, and find the link to NASCAR.com. Top 4 finishers from each heat race automatically advance to the Busch Light Clash, which will be at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. The winner of Heat 1 will win the pole. Heat 2 winner will earn the outside pole, and so on and so forth. Winners, we don't care about that. Remaining 6 positions from each heat race, 24 total cars that did not advance will continue through one of the 2 50-lap last chance qualifying races. And then the final spot of the Busch Light Clash. Let's see. Top 3 finishers from each of the last chance qualifying races will advance to Busch Light Clash, finishing out positions 17 through 22 of the 23 available positions. The final spot in the Busch Light Clash reserved for the driver who finished the highest in the 2021 point standings who does not transfer on finishing position in the heat races or last chance qualifying races. Everyone else is eliminated. What do you think?
Whew. It's a lot of information.
A lot of information.
It's going to be a lot of racing.
I will say, checked out the ticket availability today to see what it looks like there. If you want a front stretch seat, good luck because they're pretty much sold out. But everywhere else is available. You're looking at anywhere from, I think, $25 is the cheapest seat, up to about $250 for some good club seats on the front stretch. But they're single seats. There's not much double seats left on the front stretch. Yeah. But, you know, I got to say for LA area, I think it's pretty reasonably priced.
Sure. Yeah. $25 a ticket's not easy to come by.
Most of the seats that were available are $50. Again, once you get to the front side of the track, it's a quarter-mile track. You don't need to sit in the front here. I mean, you're going to see everything from anywhere. Interesting to see the layout because some of the close seats are more expensive than the high seats, which is unusual for NASCAR. Usually the upper seats are more expensive. But again, it's so small that you're going to want to be close to the action. So
exactly.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. You know, we've only got 89 days or something like that before we run this thing already. So I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's do it now.
Yeah. I am still trying to come to terms with this race happening.
There's nothing to come to terms with, man.
It's happening. It's happening. I know.
It's an exhibition race. Who cares if it's a complete flop? Who cares?
And NASCAR seems pretty excited about it. Mr. Phelps was touting its,
Yeah, don't get me started on Mr. Phelps. We don't want to be political.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well said.
Yeah. But I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm as much as I'm going to enjoy the off season, I'm ready for it to be over with already. February 5th, James, we're right at the beginning of February. We start the season out with this thing. So
yeah, we do. Yep. Here we go. It's already looming. I'm like just trying to enjoy the off season already.
I know, right?
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Last, could we see Dodge coming back to NASCAR? It's looking pretty good, don't you think?
Yeah. Speaking of Mr. Phelps, there was some chatter with Candace Spencer on Twitter, at Candace Spencer on Twitter. You know her as Lee Spencer.
Yep.
She they did a little Q&A apparently, and this was not talked. I guess it could be happening, might be happening. They're not going to say no.
He would not confirm, but wouldn't what was his line? It was all but saying, I won't confirm or deny that. I would suggest things are progressing, or I would say that things are progressing. When we have something to announce, we will. So
I love it. I would love to see them come back.
Yeah,
honestly,
any manufacturer. That's what this whole deal is for. Yep. This whole next gen car is for, is to bring in other manufacturers. Let's do it.
Yep. If Roger Penske is looking to break away and do his thing again like he did before, reach back out and get those guys back in, because the last race Dodge ever ran, they were champions. So
we just talked about
love to see him back. That's been 10 years ago almost now.
Right. We just talked about, the Truck Series is 3/4 Toyotas. Bring some other manufacturers into the sport, and that gives some other options. So
absolutely, yeah. If they're willing to spend and get involved again, and maybe start small and just do trucks for a year or two, and then come up, I would love to see it. Absolutely.
Yep.
It'd be great to have Dodge back in the sport.
Definitely. And that's it for the news, unless something broke while we were doing this podcast, James. I think we're
pretty good.
Didn't see
anything other than Jeff Gluck dragging the trophy around.
Yeah.
It's still popping up on my feed that Jeff Gluck won the championship. So congratulations to Jeff.
I love that. The discussion with Stephanie Harris from NASCAR as they're driving back in the golf cart, it's pretty funny.
He was so proud of himself that he had that trophy. Yeah.
Dude, would you not be?
Oh yeah, I know.
I can't hate on Jeff at all for that, man. I'd be nervous as heck carrying that thing around, but man, would I be happy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, James, let's talk Fantasy League. How'd the Fantasy League turn out? Did you manage to mount a challenge against Ranger at the end?
Not one bit. I trash talked him a little bit on Twitter just for fun, and that was great, but nope. Ranger held me off. And then I got passed by Tandem Draftona for second. So I'll give a quick rundown. Actually, Tandem won the race at Phoenix. Big day for him. 222. Barron Speedway second. Justin 713 was third. And then I will give everybody a rundown of how many do you want, Eric? Because I can go all the way down to you.
Yeah, shoot, everybody. We appreciate everybody participating. Just run down the whole list.
All right, I'll run down the whole list. Let's start with let's go with the people who kind of stuck it out towards.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So Danny the Many, 14th, Fast to the Grass, 13th, Rusty W, number 2, 12th, Hot Rod Todd, 11th, Shut Up Roger, our good buddy Roger, 10th, 9th place, Green Eggs and Hamlin, great name. Probably wins for best in show for that name.
Definitely.
8th place, our good buddy Eric Young, the KB show. 7th place, Bird 8U. 6th place, Barron Speedway. 5th place, Justin 713. 4th place, our buddy Todd, Freight Train 295. I fell to 3rd. Darn it. So I didn't back up my 2nd place finish, but I took some chances and it blew up in my face. So Smokey come back 3rd. Tandem Draftona, like I mentioned, 2nd place, exactly 100 points behind our champion and soon to be guest. We'll work on the details. Ranger Runyon.
Yep.
Wins it again, I believe either the 2nd or 3rd year in a row. He is a monster in this fantasy league. But he says he's having fun. The rest of us aren't.
No, the rest of us hate it. No, congratulations to Ranger. Like James said, we'll get him on the show here during the off season. We're going to take a couple weeks off, but we'll figure out a way to get him on. And we got a couple months to make it happen. So I
89 days apparently.
Yeah, I do need to. I want to give everybody a little peek under the hood here though, because there were some shenanigans going on before this thing. There was a little bit of teamwork occurring in private channels between James and Todd trying to evaluate Ranger's strategy.
There was
a lot of breaking things down. I think there might have been an Excel spreadsheet broken out. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but there was a lot of analysis.
Extensive research.
Yes. There was a lot of analysis of previous starts and ways to gain ground, and as you can see, it worked out magnificently by James losing another spot.
It was perfect. And Eric was laughing the whole time, and then the end result probably made you laugh even further.
The best part was you guys must have been doing it during a race, because I had the conversation muted, and I unmuted the conversation to see this long ass discussion going over the strategy to beat Ranger in the final race.
Yeah. I threw a question out to Todd. I'm like, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Because I came into the race with pretty much zero chance. I mean, 100. I was 100 points back. That's really tough to gain in one race. So I'm just like thinking, well, maybe do I just throw everything at the kitchen sink, like completely risk it. But what does Ranger do? You know, we were going back and forth. I can't wait to talk to him about this on the show when he comes on, because I think it's actually pretty dang hilarious that we were like breaking it down. And Todd, as you know, is super analytical.
Right.
So that made it even more fun to have him. You know, he gets really geeked about that stuff. So he was really excited.
The best thing was James tweeting out stuff during the week beforehand that he's trying to get in Ranger's head.
Yes,
and
I was.
Ranger, man, you got in James's head. Big time.
Oh yeah, you totally did. Yeah. Yeah, he was living rent free in my brain during the week when I was working on the fantasy league stuff. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was such good stuff.
I really wanted to beat that guy this year. I'm not gonna lie. Like I really wanted, because I
just applaud you for being in the running, man. I consistently I told James before we started the show, I went back and looked at my numbers, and just consistently 8th place was just where I sat. I think I finished 9th or 8th in the race. I finished right around 8th and 9th in the playoffs. Just consistently mediocre.
Losing to Ranger like I did the last 2 years, I just wanted to get him. I just wanted to get him because I was second last year. I came on like wildfire last year. Didn't quite have that kind of a run this year, but I was closer. So I thought, man, if I can just find a way to steal this one, it would be it would make for a great story. And I guess it made for a great story regardless, because it's just jackassery all around on my end. So congratulations, Ranger. We like having you on the league. I hope you come back next year for it. I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Gotta defend his title.
Yep, definitely. And if we want to continue the theme of James is a loser, we had our picks points as well throughout the season. And James mounted a challenge, beat me by 13 points the final week. But not enough. 92 points behind.
Yep.
I get the win over James. 3,492 points to 3,400. Nice, even 3,400.
3,400, right on the nail. Yeah.
And
I will say, I did win the championship race. Therefore, I will claim my championship crown. Thank you very much. I did also have the highest week of the year, so I'll take that one as well. I also had the lowest week of all time. So
right.
The 36-point Kyle Busch week. Oh, God. Kyle killed me. Kyle absolutely killed me.
I had a 150-point week, James.
I had 152.
Oh, you're right.
Beat you by 2. Just like that.
Yeah.
So I lost the season by 92. Okay. And that one freaking week, I lost by 114 points at Darlington. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. The same damn thing that happened last year at Michigan.
Yep.
You cheated again.
Yes, I cheated. I think I made this as fair as humanly possible this year.
You tried every which way to let me have a chance at it, and you still won.
If you guys could see this spreadsheet,
it's so ridiculous.
It's pretty impressive. I'm pretty proud of myself. My wife would be impressed as an Excel.
Yeah, it's professional. We got to keep it.
Yeah, as an Excel expert, my wife would be impressed by this. I mean, it adds up the points for you, because I got tired of doing math, even though James put them in most weeks anyway.
You put the difference in for each week. So I remember you can see what you won by.
I remember filling this out and how empty it looked, James, and now here it is, all full.
It's all full. It was so empty. It was a bare cupboard.
Yeah. We might use it again, but I will keep this one for all memory's sake, because
yes,
I'm proud of it.
2 years in a row I've lost to Ranger and Eric.
Yeah.
Both, yeah.
Yep.
I suck at everything. God.
We'll see next year if we want to do that again, or do something different, or just wing it and whatever.
I guess if I look at the points difference between me and you in the picks and fantasy, I guess I came out ahead. So I'll take it. I guess I'm trying to spin everything my way. 92
points for
the whole season. I know.
I mean, 3 races a week most weeks. That's really good to be that close.
Yeah,
that's close.
It's really close. Like I said, it was on 1 week. 1 week changed the whole thing.
Yeah, man, I should have went through here and counted how many times we picked certain drivers and stuff, because we could really break down the stats of this, but nobody cares. Nobody cares except us. We've already talked about it too much.
Plus, there's the blatant Eric cheated before we changed the rules moment, and technically I cheated too. But you picked John Hart Nemechek twice in a row, and then I picked Sheldon Creed twice in a row, and then we put the kibosh on picking drivers twice in a row.
Yeah.
So
I didn't remember that we did that after the season started, but you're right, we did.
Yeah, we did. But that was the kibosh on that. We both did it, and then we're like, I think Todd actually suggested, he's like, you guys should put a no back-to-backs pick. So
yeah,
that made it more fun. And actually that kept it interesting for sure.
I kind of like the way that Door Bumper Clear does theirs, because I think you have to go through the list before you can pick a driver again, which is kind of interesting. But I don't want to overcomplicate this thing. It's just a fun thing to do anyway.
Let's see how many times we picked Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now.
I bet you picked more than I did, because I was reluctant to pick him a lot this year.
I picked him 9 times, and I picked him a lot near the end because I was trying to rally.
And see, you picked him so many weeks that I couldn't pick him.
2. Let me see, 4. You had Larson on the 70-point week. That was a big one.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I think I picked him more than you did, actually.
9. Oh, 9-9. We picked him 18 times.
Nice.
Woo!
That's funny.
That is good. We should have picked him more.
18 times out of 36 weeks, James, we picked Kyle Larson. What does that tell you about his season?
Hey, that tells you what we thought we knew. We knew something was up.
Right?
That's for sure.
James, you got any shout-outs this week?
Man, just, I don't know. I'm just going to say, I'm going to do this one in-house. Shout out to you, Eric, for another full season. You're the man who does the recording, and you post the podcast episodes, and I know we do notes from time to time, but you also do that. Like today when my family is scrambling and you picked up the pace for me.
Well, I can't take too much credit because I was off yesterday, and that's when I did.
Yeah, but I honestly though, like, you do a lot of work on this thing, and I'll shout you out just for another season that we made it through. We started this in 2017, right?
Yeah.
So golly, man, we've come a long way. We did live episodes this year and YouTube stuff, and it was just a lot of fun this year. This year was a nice change of pace because last year was really tough. So no, thanks, man, for all the work you do. I really appreciate it. And I see the numbers that you send me, and people listen to this thing, and that's a lot of work that you did. So congratulations, man. Thank you.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Looking forward to introducing the cover art for the 2022 season. We'll do that before the season starts.
It's one of your favorite things, Eric's ceremonial cover art change.
Yep.
Yes.
When I took the picture, I knew which one it was going to be, so I'm excited about that. A little hint, it's Michigan International Speedway again, because guess what? It's the only track I went to this year. Thanks, James, too, for sticking it out for another year. Every year I feel like I'm going to lose him. He's going to bail on me, but he's still here, so... and hey, maybe next year we'll get him back to the track. So that's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. I definitely want to start getting back.
Dude, you don't know how close I am to getting a plane ticket and going to LA.
Dude,
it's so damn tempting.
That'd be cool if you did.
So damn tempting. Sure. But I think I'd want to go as a fan. I don't think I'd want to go as a media member. I think I'd actually want to sit in the stands.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you too, now that vaccinations are rolling out for younger children, that our family, that's what we do, and that's what we're waiting for. We have 2 young ones, but under 5, so we're going to be kind of the last ones in line here. But once that happens, I think we're finally going to be able to open ourselves up a little bit more, and we're looking forward to that, and getting back to the tracks on my list for sure. It's going to happen. Since
you mentioned that, I've got 3 shout outs I want to give real quick. First of all, I want to shout out everybody who's listened to the podcast and subscribed and continues to bring those numbers in each week. It's pretty awesome to see. James, a couple of weeks ago, I sent James some numbers because I fall victim to looking at individual episode numbers, and after the week is over, I look at the next episode, and to look back and see what we've been doing month by month versus episode by episode has been pretty amazing. So somehow you guys are listening to us. We love your feedback. If there's things you want to hear, things you like, things you don't. Shoot us a message, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on wherever, and we'll certainly look at some changes. And we want to make this your show as much as it is ours. James and I do this because it's fun. Never really aspired to go anywhere with it. We just figured we'd record it, and we enjoy the conversations. We figured we'd share it with you guys. But we're glad that you guys enjoy it. I want to shout out everybody at Phoenix International or Phoenix Raceway, all the campers, man. They showed a wide shot of the campers during the race on Sunday, and holy crap, man, it was so cool to see all those people there for championship weekend. All the Toyota tents on Rattlesnake Hill was cool, and just campers everywhere. And it just kind of once again goes to show you why this track has been chosen as a championship track, because that camping aspect is pretty neat. and something that not all the tracks bring, like Phoenix does, and like tracks like Michigan do. And there's a few, Watkins Glen, those types of tracks that really bring the camping in. So very cool there. And then last shout out, I got to shout out my boys, Ethan and Ryan, 9 years old. They got the COVID vaccine this weekend, James. So we're excited about that.
Good for them. That's awesome.
Figured I had to give them a shout out for that. They were brave. They were not thrilled about getting shots.
No,
but very proud of the fact that they got them after the fact. So
good job, boys.
Yeah, there you go. Jackass Corner. You got a Jackass Corner, James? You said you got a few. I can't. I got to go with Matt DiBenedetto. I don't got anything to add. I know I had another one, but I can't think of what it was. So it's all you, man. What do you got?
No, I had. I won't name names, but somebody asked me who won the Let's Go Brandon Cup, and I chewed this dude out for it. So, so to that person, you're gonna get my award this week, and I think that's the best I can do. I wish I could name names. I'm not going to do that though.
Yeah.
This is my anonymous source, my anonymous jackass of the week.
There you go. Are they a listener? Are they going to know who they are?
Probably not. No. If they're calling it the Let's Go Brandon Cup, they're definitely not a listener, because
that's what I figured.
Yeah. So I'm safe. But if they do, you know who you are.
Right.
You jackass.
Yeah. If you want updates during the week on the Let's Go Brandon Cup, James, how can I hit you up on social media?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the podcast, show notes, links to articles we discuss, past race coverage, photos, all that stuff. Check it out, thesuperspeedway.com. I am going to make some changes in the off season. I'm pretty confident it will not mess up the RSS feed and thus will not screw up our episodes. But I think I'm going to make a change just to make things a little cheaper on my end. So we'll play with that a little bit. Hopefully you guys won't notice, but that'll be the plan. We'll be hosting a little different place. You can find the podcast on superspeedway.com, thesuperspeedway.com. I already said that. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, wherever you found us today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen. Again, appreciate everybody who has followed along all season long. James and I are going to take a couple weeks off. We'll get Ranger on here in the off season. If any major news breaks, we'll jump on. Otherwise, we'll be back in a couple weeks to just do kind of a, mid off season recap. And we'll do that a couple times throughout the off season. And then before you know it, we'll be right back into it, breaking down and teasing the upcoming Busch Light Clash, James.
The Clash at the Coliseum.
LA Coliseum.
Oh boy.
Can't wait, but let's not rush it. Let's enjoy some winter weather. We'll enjoy some ice hockey and enjoy some not podcasting. So, again, thanks to everybody for listening. Back next season for sure. Strong every week. Back in a couple of weeks before then. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.